Hey, you guys who are listening right now. So, I have been having a lot of really cool conversations this week. Specifically, I was in a course on Wednesday night, and the course brought back some things that I had been taught, and sometimes I forget. I go in and out of this stuff. But here's something that I really want to share with you. So, I have it that all of us human beings, we want to create a result. So, if you think about something in your life right now, there is absolutely a result in an area of life that you would really like to have. So, what's the one thing that leads to results? I found out that the very one thing, and only one thing only, leads to a result, and that is an action. Now, that one's pretty easy, but what is it that has a person take an action? Some people might say motivation, but have you ever been motivated and then didn't take an action? Some people might say education, but have you ever been educated and didn't take an action? Have you ever been inspired and didn't take an action? So none of those things actually lead to action. But the one thing that actually leads to an action is your view. Your view of something determines the action that you're going to take. That action determines the result. So that's pretty wild, right? Like, here's an example, something I'm dealing with in my own life right now. I'm looking for a rodeo rig. There's so many different directions I can go with this, right? I can go buy a $25,000 rig, and logically that sounds perfectly normal, like very reasonable. Somebody might say, hey, doesn't that make sense to start off with something that's very affordable and then work your way up? I mean, yes, in fact, that sounds so reasonable. That's just one view, though. Another view of it is like, well, why wouldn't you get the thing that you want? It's going to cost you way more money per month, but why wouldn't you go get that thing? That doesn't make any sense why you would start down here and work your way up, because in a few months you're going to be spending your time and resources trying to get rid of that thing to get the next thing. And what about preparing for your future? I mean, what if you do want a wife and a kid? Don't you think you should have something that your wife and kid would be comfortable in? And that's another view. And I know all of you are thinking all the different things about which one you would choose. But now you can see how, in fact, that your view does create an action, and that action creates the result. So here, I'll take it a step further. How do you change your view? Because if you are just stuck with your own view, I call it man's view of things, and you are left to your own devices, right? How you were brought up, your background, how people influence you, maybe a TED Talk you saw recently, maybe that's what has you take action, right? But I would say that if you were actually paying attention to how God does business, and you were to ask God, what should I do in this? I believe that your vision would expand. It would probably expand into an area that was probably pretty uncomfortable for you. And that view that God has seems to be where faith lives, where those action steps that you usually aren't willing to take, I think that's where those exist. And it takes checking in with Him and talking to Him and listening to Him, and then being willing to take the action that He says to take, because I guarantee you that action and that result and that viewpoint is completely different than what man would say. Anyway, check it out, and I'd love to hear back from you guys. I love your comments and your feedback on this stuff, and I hope you're having a very awesome Saturday evening. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.